Hi there, guys. Welcome, everyone, to the 38th episode of the Curve the Cube podcast, brought to you by me, Jemmy, owner, producer, founder, all that good stuff, Flintstone Media, and the Curve the Cube podcast. Curve the Cube, it's aimed at inspiring you to pursue your dreams outside of the cubicle so you don't get stuck in a rut, and that's what I hope to do with each and every single guest that I bring on, and I love bringing these people to you because they're super cool and super awesome. What they're doing is really creating a roadmap for the rest of us to do the same, and I think that's pretty awesome. And today's guest is Sara Trovinger. She's a friend of mine, and she is just one of the sweetest people I have ever met in my entire life. And she is a teacher, and teachers really do create our future. You know, they help mold the minds of the children that we put in their care every single day. And in general, teachers are amazing human beings. And they don't get thanked enough, but even more so, what Sara's doing is simply incredible. She is a special education teacher, so she works with, as she puts the medically fragile children, the very, very most vulnerable children out there, and she takes care of them every single day and teaches them every single day and opens up their worlds. She has studied music, and she uses music therapy in what she does and utilizes that to open them up. And just the way that she talks about the impact that she's having on their lives and the impact that they're having on her life is just really, really beautiful and really inspiring. And she's also super duper funny, and she was just like an absolute barrel of laughs and total joy on this podcast, and I was so excited to have her. And in fact, you'll hear that we reference, I asked her at the very end, what are some epic fails, and she's so funny because she couldn't remember anything off of the top of her head, which we then joked was also an epic fail. And but she messaged me right afterwards and said, "See, I told you so. I basically remember this as soon as I was leaving your house." And I asked her if I could read these verbatim in the intro, and she said, "Yeah, of course." So I think these are pretty funny. She's like, "I totally remembered a few epic fails on my way home. The first was the mashed potato incident," in quotes, where I attempted to make mashed potatoes in college and it got out of control. And there was also another epic fail where I accidentally broke a bookshelf and it fell on my brother's head. Hee hee. And so she's just super cute and awesome, and what she's doing is just super inspiring. So I had to have her on my podcast. And this podcast episode is brought to you by Little Smiles. And Little Smiles has an incredible event coming up that I really want as many of you to participate in as possible. It's a scavenger hunt up and down Clematis. I did it last year. It's so much fun. Called Bamboozle, literally one of the most fun days in all of 2014 for me. You basically put a team together of 4 people. They'll accept 3, but it's more fun with 4. And it's $100, and you guys get to run. They give you clues, and you run up and down Clematis like crazy people, wearing costumes depending on the theme. And this year's theme is the 80s. I mean, come on. You can't get any better than that. And you run up and down Clematis trying to find things, and then afterwards everyone meets up at Roxy's rooftop and just has a big old party and celebrates. And this all goes to benefit Little Smiles, who basically really do just put little smiles back on kids, the faces of kids in our community, whether they're homeless or sick or struggling with whatever disability, whatever they're going through. Little Smile steps in and really helps. And so all the proceeds from this incredibly fun time are going to go to Little Smiles. So sign up, go to littlesmiles.org, and be sure to sign up and make a team and come out for Bamboozle. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's August 22nd from 3 to 6 Clematis Street. So I hope to see you all there. I will be there, and I know a few other teams who are going to be there, and it's just going to be a great time. So sit back, relax, enjoy this podcast episode number 38 with my dear friend Sara Trovinger, who is a music therapist, a special education teacher, and soon to be novelist. And she's just one of the most exceptional human beings to be walking this planet. So enjoy.
Curve the Cube will now initiate.
Hi! How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Come on in.
Awesome.
Yay. Get you water from the fridge real quick.
Awesome.
How's everything going?
Good.
Good. Yay, I'm so glad you're here.
Me too.
It's gonna be fun. Lots of fun.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you. you.
You're welcome. That's my cat. I hope you're not allergic.
No.
Okay, good. Good. That's Joey. Yeah, feel free to have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. How's your day going so far? I know it's kind of early still, but anything could happen, right?
I'm good. I'm a teacher, so this is like almost lunchtime.
Oh, that's true.
So we're good.
That is true. Yeah, and school starts when exactly?
I go back Tuesday, and then the kids start on the 17th.
Okay, so what is that, like a week and a couple days?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Because the 17th is a Thursday?
It's a Monday.
Is it a Monday?
Yeah.
Oh, August. Why am I thinking September?
That's okay.
Which is, I chronicle everything around my birthday. I think my birthday's September 10th, so which I know is a Thursday because I already know that. And I added 7 days, and clearly I'm a little too self-centered. Oh my gosh. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's funny. So when we were sitting at the beach,
Yeah.
and I kept having tell myself, okay, stop asking questions. Don't ask her too many questions. Save it for the podcast. But I'm like, this is like, I just think what you do is so fascinating and everything. And I'm sure you hear it all the time that it's like you're just doing really amazing things. And
Aw, thanks.
yeah. So I wanted to share your story.
Aw.
Yay.
Cool.
So tell me, you grew up in Maryland?
I did.
Yeah, tell me about
Yeah.
yourself as a kid. What were you like?
Oh my gosh, I was weird.
How so?
I was fun though. I was a big corkball.
Yeah.
And my childhood was really fun. My parents were crazy and awesome. And
Yeah.
we just had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They kicked us outside to play all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before the internet.
Yeah,
People think you're a millennial. You grew up on the internet. But I didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't really have a computer till I was in middle school.
Gotcha.
So, I grew up riding bikes and playing pretend, picking up games.
Which is how it should be.
Yes, it was so fun. We would go to the pool and go to the beach and just hang out and have a great time.
Yeah.
So, and I was also very creative as a kid.
Yeah.
And that was hard for me to rein in.
What describe your creativity?
Well, growing up, I was a part of this really cool program called Odyssey of the Mind. I think now it's called Destination Imagination. It kind of changed. But it was kind of this after-school program for kids that were very creative.
Yeah.
And you would have problems to solve and come up with plays and all kinds of stuff. And
Was it part of the public school system, or was it part of was it part of the school?
Kind of. It was an after-school program.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I was involved with that throughout elementary school and middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that really helped me just harness my creativity because it was kind of everywhere. So, just really compacted a little bit.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then my music also.
What did you learn about yourself when you did that program as a kid?
Just to be myself.
Yeah.
There's other people like me. It's okay.
Right? Weird isn't necessarily a one and only shot. There might be other weird people that you can relate to.
Yeah. So it just helped me just really form, just be comfortable in my uniqueness. I guess. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
So were your creative talents fostered and encouraged?
Yeah, definitely. We did a lot of music and a lot of writing.
Mm-hmm.
I love creative writing, so I got to really do that a lot. So I think it definitely helped with it.
What kind of creative writing? Like stories or poetry? Stories.
A lot of stories. I'm actually working on a novel right now.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about it at all?
A little bit. It's called Sebastian and Caprio.
Okay.
It's more for elementary school, older elementary school, 4th grade. I'm kind of gearing it towards 4th and 5th graders. But yeah, it's about a very kind pirate named Caprio. And he meets this really cool kid named Sebastian who's super bored on an island in Sweden. And he lives with his grandparents. His grandmother is a ninja, which you really don't get into in the
pirate's
first
grandmother or Sebastian's?
Sebastian's grandmother.
Interesting. So he just has all kinds of interesting people around him.
Yeah, and his grandfather was an astrophysicist who fell off the barn, and now he thinks he's a cow. So he moves throughout the novel. And in every book, he's a different animal.
Throughout the novel.
He does. And in every book, he's a different animal.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So you already have other books planned?
Yes.
That's exciting, Sarah.
Yeah, so I'm still working on the first one. Still in rough draft stage, but
yeah,
I'm creating the art right now for everything. So
that's incredible. So when you were younger and you're exploring your talents and clearly you realized you like to write,
yeah,
and I know you also realized how much you love music.
Yeah.
When did you first discover that?
preschool.
Really?
Yeah, I took piano lessons.
Really?
And I loved it. But then I was really into dance and all kinds of other stuff. So
Yeah.
my parents really were into letting us kind of making our own path.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of, went around. But in 4th grade, that was the year we got to pick our instrument.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wait till 4th grade. It's like, I can't wait. I can pick my
Because
instrument.
what, like, they had otherwise been giving you, what, like, recorders
Yeah.
and, like, whatever?
Yeah, pretty much. And I was like, I can't wait. It was like the cool year. You
Right.
get to pick your instrument.
Right.
So I ended up with the violin because I could not make any noise in a wind instrument to save my life.
I tried the flute once. Most difficult musical year of my entire life. It was so hard.
It's super hard.
Just to get, it's like, it looks like it's just the easiest thing to just put your lips to it and just blow, but it's like, it had to be like in a very specific formation and relationship with like the opening, and
Yeah.
it's so hard.
Super hard. Yeah, I was like, I can't do
Yeah,
that.
me neither.
So I
Disaster.
did the violin,
Yeah.
which, is the first couple years are tough on the ears.
Yeah,
I'm sure,
yeah. More screechy than.
but very squeaky.
Yeah.
And then in 6th grade, I was in middle school, and my teacher said we need a bass player for orchestra, and I was like, I'll do it. That looks fun. Giant instrument. I was like super short. I was like,
Awesome.
I'll totally play that. She's like, well, you need to get your parents' permission. I was like, okay. So I did, and I remember she called up my mom, was like, I hope you have a really big car, because Sarah is now playing the bass, and it's huge.
And that's the biggest one of the strings,
Yeah.
right? Because it goes, what, bass, then cello,
Viola.
and then violin.
Yeah.
Is the fiddle the same as the violin?
Yeah.
It's just how you play it depends on like what it's called.
I guess instruments, they have random names.
Yeah.
My string bass is also called the double bass, the contrabass. I mean,
Okay.
bass fiddle.
Okay.
I guess it just depends on the genre of music.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
should know that, but
Yeah. So how was it like switching instruments, and did you find that you loved it as much as you anticipated?
Oh, I loved it. It was fun. I actually forgot about my first music lesson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was on Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in English class, and my teacher was doing this really cool ghost story thing where he was like telling us ghost stories. He had like a lantern. It was
Nice.
awesome. And I was
Love
like,
fun English teachers.
I know, I was so into it. I totally forgot about my lesson. And I remember my strings teacher just came knocking on the door, like, hey. And I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I gotta go.
I have to go play my bass now. And I remember being in the lesson, and I was super short, and I haven't hit my growth spurt yet, and I couldn't really reach where I was supposed to reach, so I had
Right.
to stand on a couple of textbooks.
Aww.
And I loved it. And then I guess she saw I had some kind of talent, so
Mhm.
she encouraged my mom to get me private lessons.
Mhm.
And through that, I joined a couple youth orchestras outside of school and just got really into it.
Oh
Did
my
music
gosh.
camps over the summers.
How did you get involved in orchestras outside of the school? Is that something that like your parents figured out, your teacher figured out?
My music teachers just kind of had connections and knew where all the good orchestras were, so they
Yeah.
encouraged me to do that. So, and music was a really big program where I went to school.
Mhm.
Like
This is
all of
in
our
Maryland, right?
yeah, like our football players were in the marching band. Like,
Interesting.
Like, music
So what did they
was-
get changed for the half times? Like how did that work?
no, they just wore their football uniforms. I mean, that's kind of how I grew up. Like, the cool people were in music.
Yeah,
Like, if you
that's
weren't,
awesome.
so it was so huge. And we had like a semi-professional orchestra. I actually got to play in it my senior year of high school, the
Mhm.
Susquehanna Symphony, and that was where like all the music teachers they played there because it's awesome.
Wow, so you got to play with the teachers?
Yeah. Which
No
is kind of cool.
kidding.
Yeah. So, and it was kind of a good prep to going to college too. Just
Yeah.
To play with a really awesome group.
Yeah, so then how did you decide which college you wanted to go to? And because you went to Shenandoah University,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, how did you choose there, and what drew you to it?
Well, I was debating whether to be a performance major or a music therapy major. I wasn't sure. My parents were like, we'll support you, whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
We're here. And, I felt like Shenandoah was very down to earth.
Mhm.
And I love the music therapy program. And I didn't feel at home at any of the big conservatories. You know, it was just way too competitive, and that's not my personality. I was like the person that did it for fun.
The joy of it.
Yeah, I didn't care which chair I ever played. I just wanted to play. I was never competitive, ever.
Yeah, it's not the competition that makes you feel accomplished. It's just the fun of doing it with other people.
Yeah. And Shenandoah just had a really cool program, and it was very small, which I loved, and everyone was so nice. And I just felt at home on the campus.
Yeah.
So, and I love the music therapy program. And every day I'm so thankful that's where I went to school, and I brag about it all the time.
And it was a 4-year program? And did you get a master's there too?
Yeah, I did.
Wow,
yeah,
Sarah!
Right after undergrad, I graduated in August and then started the graduate program like the next week.
Are you serious?
Like, just get on in there.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Yeah. So how different was like the bachelor's program versus the master's program?
Well, the master's program was cool. It was only once a month. We only had one class a month, but it was clinically based, so I was working full time and then implementing what I was learning into my clinical practice.
And it was, and how does knowing how to play? Well, one question I want to ask before I want to bounce back for a second, because I was really curious to know is playing the violin and then playing another string instrument like the bass, does it translate as easily as it might seem?
Yeah.
It does? Okay. Yeah. I was curious about that.
Yeah, it wasn't too hard.
Yeah, good. So yeah, when you went into teaching and the masters, how did you learn, what did they teach you about learning to apply your skills and everything, and your fun and joy of loving music and playing to applying it for a specific purpose that was different? How did that translate?
Well, really, the instrument in music therapy is kind of the guitar, so I had to learn how to play that. Now that doesn't translate.
And you hadn't played guitar before?
No.
Oh my god.
So that did not translate.
Totally different type. Different family of strings.
Very different. So we had a whole class, and it was rough.
Oh my gosh.
It literally took me 4 years to figure it out. But you just use instruments in a different way. You don't really care so much. I mean, as a therapist, you want it to sound nice, but for the clients, you know, your purpose for them to play the guitar is totally different. You know, when I use the guitar with my students or the ukulele and I want them to strum it, I'm usually working on them looking at it. I'm working on their arm extension. I'm not really working on them actually, you know, playing it.
Right.
It's different. When I bring my bass in for my kids, it's more of a sensory experience for them. I want them to feel the vibrations and touch the instrument, to feel the strings, feel the bow, hold the bow, and try to play it. It's not, you know, you use your instruments in a different way.
So is it more like, let's see if I get this right, music and the instruments are used for music therapy not to teach them how to play, but to allow them to experience the world around them through a different medium? Yes.
And sometimes with kids, it depends on the population, because you can teach them how to play an instrument too. But for my purposes, with my population, it's more of the experience and the sensory, all the good sensory stuff they get from it.
Does music therapy, does that like automatically involve a certain population of children? Does music therapy kind of work for anybody, and you decided to concentrate it on a specific population? Yeah. Like how does like, I guess what I'm wondering is, does everyone go into music therapy knowing that they're going to use it for special needs children, or is there a broader application for it?
There's a huge application.
Yeah.
Huge. When I was in school, we had different practicums. So I had a medical practicum on a pediatric floor in a hospital.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What did you do?
You work a lot on pain management, kind of, because, you know, they're kids, they're in pain, a lot of distraction, you know, trying to, you work on a lot of emotional stuff, you know, playing the drum, they're really upset they're in the hospital, so it's playing the drum, bang it out, that stuff. I did a mental illness practicum, so you do a lot of lyric analysis, and then I did geriatrics, which I love geriatrics too, and you work on a lot of memory recall, which is really cool with the Alzheimer's population. I actually still have a client who has Alzheimer's that I work with, every once in a while.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually my friend's grandma.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, so, and I'll sing,
in her home or in a home?
In her home.
In her home.
And we'll sing, for example, Let Me Call You Sweetheart.
Ah.
And she really doesn't talk, but she'll sing that song. And
That's
she'll
so
talk about how her
lovely.
husband would sing that to her. And, it's really cool.
Speaking of memory.
To
watch it, I'm sure.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
That's amazing. So, go a little off topic.
Yeah.
So talk about memory recall. When you say, Let Me Call You Sweetheart, the first time I ever heard that song, I'll never forget it. I was watching a stand-up comedian who used puppetry. What are those? There's a word for that. What is dang it! Ventriloquist. Right. And so his puppet was an old man. And it was really, hilarious. And then all of a sudden, the old man spots a young chick in the crowd, and he starts flirting with her. And the comedian's trying to rein him in and, whatever. But all of a sudden, he's like, I just want to sing her a song. And he sang that song as the old puppet to this girl. And there was something about it, that song, that was like, oh, that's so sweet. And I'll never, ever forget that moment. And that was, a small thing. So I can only imagine what it's like to see someone, see a song touch someone in that kind of a way.
Yeah.
In that kind of a way has to be spectacular.
Yeah. And music and memory is so intertwined.
Yes.
And it's really cool. And that's why as a music therapist, music choice is really important. Because right now, actually, the Beatles are starting to get kind of big in the geriatrics thing, because a lot of the baby boomers are starting to get a little older.
That's true. So it must evolve.
And so it evolves, and it's going to be interesting when we're in the nursing home someday to see what the music therapist does.
Right. Like some vanilla ice. Or salt and pepper. Oh, that's so cool. So what is the experience like working with, I guess, when you were first working with, did you work with kids first, or did you work with the geriatric population first? Who were you exposed to first?
I was exposed to kids first, mostly because my mom was a special ed teacher.
Okay.
So right when I got my license, she got me a job at her school at the aftercare program. So I've been with kids with special needs for a very long time. So,
what was that first entry into that world? What was that like? That first day, that first week, or whatever? What was those first early experiences like?
It was a little scary, but kids with special needs have a way to make you just be at ease with yourself and with them. So within a few hours, I think I was pretty much okay.
Yeah.
The first seizure I saw kind of scared me a little bit, but then now it's second nature to me. I'm like, okay, let's time it, make sure you're okay, and but it's the first couple of times is a little tough, but you get used to it, and it becomes very normal.
That was weird. Did you see the lights just fire? Because I'm thinking, because the more I talk to you, the more I realize, what you do involves education, music. There's a medical side to it. You have to be prepared for stuff and trained on stuff. That's a lot of commitment to go into one profession. What makes you so motivated what makes you love it? What makes you passionate and wanting to do this kind of work? It's difficult work.
It is hard. And I think, seeing other people's passion helps me. My mom was a special ed teacher.
Yeah.
And
so you
when
grew up with it. Was she always a special ed teacher?
No, she wasn't. It was something that she developed a passion for later in life that she ended up going into. So I think that really helped. And it, transitioning from a full-time music therapist to a teacher was a little different. But my passion for kids with special needs is really what did it. And I just love my kids.
Yeah.
Being around them is so addicting.
Yeah.
They're so funny and joyful, and they're very inspiring.
Yeah.
They go through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They really do. And then they have these crazy surgeries, and they do it all yep, it's what I'm going to do.
Just their life.
It's just how they are, and it's really cool, because I'd be scared. And they don't even talk. They can't move. And and it doesn't seem to phase them at all.
What are some of the types of cases that you have? If you can, I mean, you don't have no names, obviously, but like...
yeah. You know, I have kids with cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And a lot of times with cerebral palsy, it really doesn't affect cognition. So you look at a kid and you know they're in there. And the trick is trying to figure out how to draw that child out and how to help him communicate. Because they know so much more than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
And then I have kids that have traumatic brain injury. So they were born totally typical, and then something happened, which is tough.
Yeah.
And I have kids that just have weird genetic stuff. I don't know, just genetic anomalies, I guess.
Right.
So, you know, but most of my students are medically fragile, and a lot of them come with nurses, which is wonderful, and they're pretty great.
So the nurses are there like all day with you? Interesting.
Yeah.
How many kids are in your room?
I think so far this year I have 13 or 14. Can't remember the count, but we can have up to 16 in each classroom. Yeah, and about half the kids will come with private nurses.
And what's the age range?
My kids are 3 to 6, and then
the little ones.
Yeah, I have babies, and then next door is 7 through 10.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So now that you're a special ed teacher, excuse me, and I'm assuming that not all special ed teachers have the musical background that you have. So how do you bring your music therapy into your classroom still? How does it translate into what you do now?
I actually have a funny story about that.
Please share!
My first week of teaching, I sang everything I did. I could not bring myself to talk. It was so funny because I was so used to like singing everything.
Right.
So I would be like, make the choice, red or blue. Which choice do you want to do?
Nice! I love it!
It was really funny. And I sang everything, and then I had to learn, like, you can talk now.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's
okay to talk. But I use my ukulele every day. There's usually
much more transportable than your bass.
Very much. I have brought my bass in a couple times, and the kids love it. They usually get really quiet.
I don't even know transportable's a word, but I made it up.
It's a great word. I think it's fine. But I use my ukulele, especially in circle time.
Yeah.
I sing the good morning song to the kids. We work on our letter sounds through music. You know, the A says ah, the A says ah. Every letter makes a sound, the A says. And then I try to get the kids to say ah, and it's pretty awesome. So we sing a lot. You know, we do a lot of music. Every lesson I do usually has a song attached to it.
Right.
But my kids do get formal music therapy from an outside music therapist that comes in once a week, and she's wonderful. So they get an hour of that, which is great. I think they like hearing a different voice. But yeah, I definitely use it a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I did a little digging and found a video
Oh no.
of you
Oh no.
singing a Cuban Jewish birthday song.
I heard that
And
from my
I
friend Sunshine.
died laughing. I thought it was absolutely the funniest and cutest thing ever.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
My master's thesis was on songwriting. I'm not gonna lie, I do that a lot. And I like to write songs for my friends.
So you wrote that? You just made it up? That is awesome. It was kind of like, I mean, I'm not a music terminology person, but I felt like flamenco style, and I was like, go Sarah! This is super fun.
Oh my god.
I may or may not attach a little bit of the audio to the end of this podcast.
That's
I don't know.
It's very appropriate.
It was really, really funny. So what makes you explore, do you like to explore different types of music when you play?
I try to. I've always had a hard time mimicking it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty good with like the reggae beat.
Yeah?
I can do that. And
What's your favorite instrument to play? Is it still the bass, or is it?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I miss it.
Do you have one still?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fred's in my condo.
Fred?
His name's Fred. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Fred the bass. Where
Fred
did
the
that come
bass.
from?
I was 13.
That's all the explanation you need. Seriously, I was 13.
I was 13. His name is Frederick Leopold Tchaikovsky III. The Fred for short.
Frederick Leopold Tchaikovsky.
My childhood was weird.
Oh, I love it! I love it. Yeah, you definitely have a love for classical music. Is that
Definitely.
Did that come before you started playing like the violin and stuff? Or
Oh yeah.
where does that come from? Were you into that in preschool? Like really, really early?
We were kind of exposed to it in elementary school.
Yeah.
Every year we would watch Dance Macabre by Saint-Saëns.
Dance Macabre.
Yeah, it's a Halloween. Well, now it's considered like a Halloween song, but it's really cool. And we would watch it in music class, and it was this beautiful, beautiful orchestral piece. And I loved it. I've always loved classical music.
Yeah, yeah.
And we would see the Baltimore Symphony every year in elementary school. We'd go around Christmas time, and I have always loved it.
Yeah.
There's always something about it that made me really happy. So.
I've always loved classical music too. I remember when I was little, we'd be playing in my house a lot, and I'd be doing ballet dances and all kinds of stuff. Or sometimes I'd just be playing it on my own in my room, and I would create like these elaborate plays and scenes in my head based on like Tchaikovsky and Chopin and all this other stuff. And it's funny to now see, my son Jordan. He gets really into the soundtrack composition in like Spider-Man movies and stuff like that.
Awesome.
He loves it. Like he'll run around and he'll do the exact same thing that I did when I was little, and I'm like, that is so crazy to watch. He's doing the same thing. So he's probably gonna end up having a love for classical music. There's just something about it. I mean, I hate to sound punny, but that's just classic,
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love going to operas. I just bought my season pass.
Did you really?
I did.
Is that Kravis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Take my music bath. That's what I call it.
Your music pass. Is it a season pass specifically for opera or for just the... I didn't know that you could even do that. That's so cool.
Neither did I. They sent me an email. And
You're like,
absolutely.
I will do that. Thank you. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So how much of your day is spent being that creative person that you've always been since you were little?
Oh my gosh. A lot of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can put an hour
Do you daydream a lot?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Lots of daydreaming. But especially at work.
Yeah.
I can change a lot of times I'll have to change my lesson, and I'll have like 5 minutes to figure something out. So I'm like, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
I call it my like Tim Gunn make it work moments. Like
Tim Gunn?
Tim Gunn from Project Runway.
Ah!
So I was like, make it work, and so I call them my make it work moments. But I have to be super creative. My kids, most teachers have to kind of differentiate for all their students, their lesson planning, and I feel like I have to do that with all of my students. Like I can't just do like 3 groups. I need to do like 14 different lessons.
Completely individual.
So I'm just trying to get them to access everything.
Yeah.
And to have fun and make everything colorful and very sensory. So
Right.
My room is like a burst of color.
Is it?
Which is funny because a lot of special ed rooms usually are very, very stark. Because a lot of kids who have special needs are very overstimulated. So they need to be in a place that's very calming and soothing. My kids are the opposite. They're very understimulated. So they have to be in a place that's full of color and bright and crazy, and so they can
Are they grouped in a certain way between classrooms, but other than age, like, or is it just...
Yeah, and we get together in the afternoons and co-teach. So that way all the kids can get used to being together. And we do plays, and
really?
we have to write our own plays and figure out how to... We did a play on Jack on the Beanstalk, except it was Tony Tone and the Groovy Beat Stop. It was very 70s. It was really funny. So I spend a lot of my day being creative, as you can tell. And I work with creative people too, so that really helps.
Well, on your Facebook page, you said, let me see if I can find it again, at the rate my students go, I need to be more ADD than patient. Is that how describe that? Like, explain that a little bit.
They're very, I don't know how to explain it. A lot of people assume, since my students don't walk or talk, that it's a very chill classroom, and it's not. They make lots of sounds, and they can move. If they want something, they will figure out how to get to point A to point B, whether it's rolling or crawling or doing whatever maneuver they figure out.
Right.
Yeah, so I always have to, like, keep a watchful eye. One of them has figured out how to open jars. So, you know, I have to...
Right.
You open things! One time I turned around, and they're very stealthy kids. Like, I turned around once, then I turned back around, and one of my kids had puffy paint everywhere. And I was like, how did you do that? So, yeah, you kind of have to be... I mean, I'm patient in a lot of ways, but they're, like, normal ways to be patient, like waiting for them to, like, hit the switch or something. But I really have to be moving all the time for them.
Yeah.
Because there's always something going on, and one of them's always into something.
Yeah.
It's just pretty funny.
What's the reality of a teacher's schedule? I know you're the typical teacher because you're in a very unique concentration, but, you know, I think of it, because I don't really know anything about the field. I mean, I've done a little teaching here and there, but it's always been as like a a tutor and stuff like that. But, you know, for your normal teacher, right, weird or not. So, I mean, like, what time do you get to school? And then what time do you really leave? And then how much work do you actually do outside of the classroom? And, like, that type of stuff. Like, what's the reality of it like? Yeah.
It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
You know, my alarm goes off at 5, and I usually lie in bed till 5:30. I'm like, I need some more
Convincing your body.
Come on, get up. And I usually get to work between 6:30 and 7.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to have 2 assistants who help me prep things the day before, but a lot of times I need to prep. And I like having some time to myself in the morning, just like me in my classroom before the storm hits.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's like a nice, quiet time. And then the kids start coming around 8 o'clock, and then I'll do a lot of my assessment then with the kids. We do a lot of free play. I'll get them out of their chairs. I'm really big on getting my students out of their wheelchairs.
Good. Are all of them in their wheelchairs, or most?
Most of them are. Yeah. So I try to get them out as often as I can, and let them, you know, access different toys while I work with some, and try to work on some individual IEP goals and stuff.
IEP?
Yeah. It's like their specific academic goals.
Okay.
Yeah. So every kid has different ones. So those are ones I try to group similarly, so I'm not going completely insane.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But yeah, so I try to work on some of those. And then I teach all day. And then after school, I'm usually there for about an hour, hour and a half. I've been good about getting out around 3:30 this summer, but that's because I had 4 aides. So I only have 2 during the school year, so I usually leave around 4 o'clock.
What is the summertime? How is that different from the regular school year time?
I just there's less kids and more help. So I can get to school a little bit later and leave a little bit earlier because I have more people like hanging things up for me and stuff. Because a lot of my day is, you know, keeping the classroom clean and doing all my data and all that stuff.
Does your program feel more of a year-round program than maybe your typical teacher?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I work in the summer.
Yeah.
But the kids really need to be there in the summer, too. It's important so they don't lose anything.
Right, so I'm thinking about, like, you know, gosh, how much stuff did I learn when I was a kid just fell out of my brain over the summer. And, you know, I'm thinking about a kid that is struggling to learn all these basics and all these life skills. And, you know, you certainly don't want to have too much of a gap in that for them, I can imagine.
Because they do regress. So you have to be kind of on top of people. Like, come to school. Summer's so fun. So, yeah. And then I spend a lot of time outside of school prepping, making my own materials. Because I really can't buy a lot of the stuff that I use with my kids. I have to, like, hand make almost everything. But there are some really great websites. Teachers Pay Teachers is my favorite.
When you say make things, is it things for, like, your lessons, or just mean like just adapting things to their needs? Like, what do you mean?
Both. You know, I made my own calendar, and it's adapted for my kids. I adapt a lot of the books that I use. A lot of Velcro and laminate. It's the weight of my heart. Velcro and laminate.
I know what to get you for Christmas.
I know. Pretty exciting.
Velcro laminate.
And also just making the classroom look really nice,
Yeah.
too. Because I'm a huge believer in aesthetics, and that it can really motivate kids. So I try to keep everything as clean as I can and disinfect everything.
Yeah. You take a lot of pride in it, it seems.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. What do you hope to, when you look back on yourself in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, what do you hope to think about who you've been as a teacher and as an impact on kids' lives?
I just hope I love them.
Yeah.
A lot of my students, I feel like it's quality of life. And I just want to make sure that they feel loved and they feel smart. And
because a lot of them don't have a long life, unfortunately, right?
Yeah. I mean, I hope with modern medicine, I'm hoping they can have a really awesome lifespan and it can be typical, but they go through a lot. And I hope that they feel loved. I hope they feel smart. And I hope that I'm able to just make them feel like they can do anything. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to.
Because I think a lot of us, we look back on our childhoods, and a lot of what we remember are our teachers. Whether it's the quirky teacher who did the fun Halloween thing that you were talking about, or to the teacher. I remember this teacher that I had, who I actually would love to have on the podcast too, because she just retired. Mrs. Darman. She was my teacher in 6th grade, and she taught my brother too. He was 3 years ahead of me. But she had what was called the book nook.
Oh,
and it was
cute.
this little area in her classroom with rocking chairs and just shelves of books. And we would gather there, and we would have reading time, or it was if we were reading our own books, like it was just a quiet place where we could go. And it was just this thing that is just burned into my memory called the book nook,
Aww.
And we always remember that. And so to hear you say, I want to make sure my kids feel loved. I want to make sure that they feel smart. I think every teacher feels that, but I think it's different for you. I think because those two things right there are like a basic element of what you are trying to do. And I think typically teachers have that thought, but then they have all this other stuff too. And God knows all your other stuff is a million times more complicated, but I just feel like the concentration of those two things, feeling smart and feeling loved, probably has to be so much bigger for you.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And I love it.
How have you seen, I'm sure you have, a moment where kids had a breakthrough or just opened up, and what have some of those moments been like?
I had a student that came in August, and he slept all day. Like, I didn't see his eyes until November.
Wow.
he
was it purposeful, or that was just his?
That was just him. He was just getting used to school. And a lot of times when my little ones come in, they're still trying to get used to the schedule. And they do sleep a lot, and a lot of it's medication and just their conditions. So, and then he started opening his eyes, and he started to look, and then he slowly started to show expressions. He would show when he was really mad, when he was in physical therapy, and they were making him, do something. He'd be like, I don't want to do it. Like, he would just do that frown, like, and you would see that personality shine through.
What it is. Yeah.
You're showing emotion. This is awesome. Sorry, but you kind of have to do it.
Yay for the emotion. Sorry, but you still got to do it.
Yeah. And then, I see him smile, and I can call his name, and he'll kind of look at me now, like, and he'll kind of start looking at the friends in the class, and he's kind of he's opened up so much, and it's really, really cool. It's awesome.
One thing I think is amazing about kids, I remember learning about this. I did some child psychology stuff when I was in college, and then of course I've worked with kids a million times, and now I have my own son. But one thing I found interesting with them, kids can immediately judge the other kids around them and their level of communication and kind of adapt. So an older kid will start talking to a younger kid more on their level, and I think that's so neat how kids can they pretty quickly fall into that. But with your kids, how do they interact with each other a lot? How is that different for them, and what's that like? I mean, I just imagine there's got to be a little bit different considering all of their abilities and challenges.
Yeah, they're cute. They hold hands a
Aww.
lot. Yeah, I'll look over, and like one of them's kind of holding the other one's hand. I had an incident where one of my students was crying. She was really upset. And I do have a student that walks. And she walked over, and she leaned down, she gave her a kiss, and she sat with her and held her hand. You know, stuff like that. And this particular student's very social, so she likes to like go and try to clap everyone's hands.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, so like they see each other and they'll look at each other and smile and you know, I try to get them to play the computer together. You know, I'll get like switches, like, hey, you guys try to play, and they laugh. So, you know, they do. They know that there's other people, and they like to look and smile and try to reach out. And that's it. We try to get them to interact with each other. You know, when we do like a dance party, we'll get them out of their chairs and try to get them to like hold hands with each other and dance. So I'm really into getting them to be together and to see each other and stuff. So it's a lot of times it's us moving them, but they're looking and they're smiling and laughing.
Right.
So I think they enjoy their company.
Oh, it's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to ask, so I also found this on your Facebook page, and I thought it was really funny, where you say, and it did catch me off guard at first. I'm like, wait, Sarah? Okay, it said, Snape, Emma Woodhouse, and Bridget Jones are my two favorite fictional people. Next line, I totally suck at math. Especially counting things. See the sentence above. And I was like, oh my god, that is so funny. So how important is it? I think you have a natural sense of humor. You're just naturally joyful. But how important is it to keep, not only have to be kind of ADD with you know, being ready on your toes how important is it to keep your sense of humor given given the weight of what you, as joyful as it can be, it's also heavy. How do you keep that sense of humor? How important is that?
You just have to work with people who are as twisted as you are, I guess. you just have to laugh, and the kids laugh about it too. Like they laugh. I mean, they're cool with it. So you have to, or else you'll be destroyed. Right. You know, we'll have nursing students that will come through because we're a part of like a peds rotation for one of the colleges.
A what rotation?
Peds, like pediatrics.
Oh.
Yeah, so we'll have like nursing students that'll come in with their professor and just kind of observe our students and help out with them. They're great. We love them when they come. But a lot of times they'll have to take a break and go away and step away and just kind of have a moment because it's overwhelming. It's very overwhelming for a lot of people. So I'll talk about, like, I'll see a seizure like it's nothing. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's just make sure it's fine and, you know, get the nurse if it starts to go long. And, you know, I really don't get too worried about it anymore. I mean, I do, but I have to kind of keep that at bay. Right. But you just kind of have to keep your sense of humor, work with people who make you laugh. And then there are times where I do go home and I get very upset. I had a student that just, you know, is going through something, and I can't really show it at work. Right. So I'll have to go home. And once I'm home, I can, you know, have my moment. But I don't let it out at school. I'm very happy and joyful because the kids need it. Right. Because sometimes they go through things that are kind of scary, and they need to feel safe, and they need to feel like they're in a place where they're going to be safe and okay. And I can't really be scared at school. I have to be like, hey, we're good. Okay, you're fine. You know, it's okay.
You know, when I was in college, I was an EMT. And I went into it because I thought the uniforms were cool, it'd be awesome to drive an ambulance, and it looked super fun, and the camaraderie between it was all students. I'm like, and the camaraderie was pretty awesome, right? And like, what a fun, cool thing. And then it hit me what I was doing. and I had a moment, I think the moment that it struck me was when we got called to the scene of a house where it was a 3-week-old baby that stopped breathing. And that's when it became super real, what I was doing. And the fact that I was going to see some things that I needed to really make sure I was prepared to see and handle and deal with. You know, I think about, I have a couple of friends who are pediatric nurses, or specifically OBGYN, you know, they help deliver babies, and it sounds amazingly beautiful and fun and wonderful, but then you got to think about the super dark moments that they must also witness and experience. When you were, I mean, I know your mother was a special ed teacher, so you probably were aware, but how much did you anticipate the dark times?
Not as much as I should have. Yeah. Because sometimes it can be kind of scary. I mean, I've been on a couple ambulances with my kids, and that's never fun.
Wow.
And yeah, it can be really hard.
Yeah.
But suck it up and go home and cry.
do you put that in a certain place inside of you and just deal with it in like a little at a time here and there and just kind of segment it? Like, how do you? Yeah.
You kind of have to.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm at school, like, I really don't let it get to me unless it's something that's super, super serious, and something that's really been going on for a while, and then I'll go out and have my moment. But for the most part, I wait till I'm home to have my moment. And I talk to people too. You know, I talk to my mom and good friends of mine who are really helpful. So
is that what helps foster the camaraderie that you feel, and the closest that you've talked about feeling with your coworkers and other teachers?
Yeah, and we'll go out together a lot and talk about it. So, and there's just some things I can really only talk about with them because they get it.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
So we do go out a lot and talk about you know, our kids, and we have a lot of meetings. Yeah, you kind of become very close to the people that you work with.
Yeah.
You kind of have to.
Yeah. So you still nervous about this coming year?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm always nervous.
Have you, is it the same classroom as you were in before, and is it already ready to go? And
most of it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go out and get a couple things, but I have to redo my bulletin board. But most of it's pretty much set up. It's kind of the nice part about working at my school is you keep your classroom every year, so I can kind of just, I spend my summers really just working on it. So
one thing I thought was super interesting that you mentioned at the beach that I didn't know about was the difficulty of transitioning between like a charter school and the other schools in the public school system. Can you talk about that a little bit? Is that
I don't really know too much about it, actually. I've only worked for charter schools. But I mean, they're really cool, and I've heard that my school was the first charter school. I don't know if that's true, but it's different. You know, they're public schools that are privately funded, I guess. And the school district does give us some money, some support, and we do have regulations. You know, we do have to do the Florida standards and all that stuff, and the kids have to take, you know, the Florida assessments and everything. And they do come in to make sure we're doing a good job. But
that was an email. Because I forgot to turn my ringers off, apparently. Woo! Boom, done. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so, I mean, I have a lot of freedom in, like, my curriculum planning and my choices that I make.
It's not as pre-directed as the public, what do you, was there a term for, like, non-charter? You say the regular? Like, what do you say? I don't know. I don't want to be insulting and say the wrong thing. I just don't know how to refer to them other than the other.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, I think both types have their benefits.
Yeah.
I love working for the art because it's a nonprofit I've always enjoyed. And I was actually the music therapist at my school before I became the teacher, so I was already very involved, and so I like working there.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's a very small setting, and my principal is super involved, which is nice. You know, she'll help me out if I need it, which is really cool. So,
that's good. That's good.
It's different, but I think both sides have their benefits.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm glad you're happy where you are, and you sound very comfortable where you are.
I do. I like it.
That's good. Does your mom still work as a special ed teacher, or is she down here, or is she in?
She's in St. Augustine.
St. Augustine.
Yeah, she and my dad retired down there about 4 years ago.
Aw.
Yeah.
Pretty nice place to retire.
Yeah, we used to go all the time growing up. My aunt lives there.
Is that where they have like the really good fudge?
Yeah. Probably. They have really good everything there. I'm sure they have the good fudge there.
I've think because I think we took like a school trip in I don't know 6th grade or 7th grade or something like that to St. Augustine. I just remember everyone was like, "Can we do the fudge?" And it was really good.
I love that place. She worked for a couple of years, and then she retired, and then she was like, "I'm going to work because I'm bored." And then she taught special ed for a few years, and then she decided she was retired. She's like, "I'm done." But she does work for Job Corps in Jacksonville, and she's an accommodation specialist. So if
Job Corps is like a skill. I can't think of what the word I'm looking for. You describe it.
It's for
vocational is what I was thinking of.
It's vocationally driven. And it's for kids who need their GED in a trade and stuff.
Right.
So if they come in with an IEP or with any kind of learning accommodations, my mom just makes sure that they get them. So she just has like her little office, and she
basically it's like their advocate.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's good.
Yeah, so it's a lot more.
You guys are some of the most selfish people I've ever met in my entire life. You guys sound like the worst.
Yeah, we're pretty selfish in my family, I tell you.
So one of the fun thing about you is that you've done a lot of traveling, it looks like. You've been to a ton of places. A couple of these places I've never even heard of. Karoo and what was the other one I hadn't heard of? I've heard of Estonia, but I couldn't begin to tell you where the heck it was. I listed.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. A couple places you've been. What's been your favorite place that you've been?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think. Paris and Russia.
Really?
Yeah. Russia was cool. It wasn't what I was expecting. I was on a Baltic cruise with my best friend. And actually, we totally forgot our visas.
We were kind of something you need.
We were standing at customs in case,
no.
I think we forgot our visas.
Oh, no!
It's okay. We'll play Stupid American.
We'll play a Stupid American.
You're like, what?
They probably bought it hook, line, and
They were like, they're not going to do anything about it, then. They're too stupid. But Russia was really cool. We sang all the songs from Anastasia, of course.
Of course, it's you have to.
Yeah, we were the youngest people in our tour group, so there's not a bunch of old people. It was great. It was really interesting. We got on the bus and they offered us shots, and it was like 8 in the morning.
Oh my gosh, go Russia!
I think we're good.
Wow.
Maybe later.
Wow.
And we just went to like the Hermitage and the Winter Palace and Catherine's Palace.
Unreal.
And it was incredible. Like Catherine's Palace is huge, and we were just like, it was just massive.
What did you like most about it? The art, the architecture, the history? What was?
The art was really cool,
but
the palaces were incredible, and the garden at Peterhof was insane. There were like dragons, and it was ridiculous. It was so cool. And when we were in Paris, we were at Versailles. We were like, this garden doesn't have dragons.
right. If you had seen it first, you'd have been super impressed.
I know. We were like,
you went in the wrong order.
We're like, Versailles needs to do something.
You just step it up just a little bit. You just step it up. If I remember correctly, I think Versailles, their garden, like each flower is in like its own little plant pot, and then so they can rearrange and do different designs. But they don't do dragons.
No. Apparently not.
They have some work to do.
But it was cool. And Paris was where we went after our cruise. We had a couple of days, and while we were planning, we were like, well, let's just go to Paris and hang out. That'd be a nice ending. And it was so much cooler than we anticipated. It was such a chill city. It was so relaxing.
What did you love about it?
Just the ambiance, I think. It was just very, like, you just sit at a cafe all day and no one would care. Yeah. Like, it's nothing like New York. Because I think of a city, that's what I think about. I think of New York City is crazy and everyone's running around. In Paris, everyone was just like, hey, I'm here. Here's some baguettes.
Well, have you ever been to New Orleans?
I haven't, but I've always wanted to go.
I think you would love it. Yeah. Because it has that same laissez-faire, probably even way more than Paris. And it has a lot of that the music, I think you would fall in love with.
Totally.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And the sights and sounds, the culture, I think you would love it.
Yeah.
You need to put that on your bucket list, girl.
Oh, definitely.
For real. Would
Yeah.
you haven't been on the pilgrimage to Scotland, have you?
I haven't, but I'm going to Scotland next summer.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm doing a British Isles cruise with my mom, my dad,
Nice.
family, friends. So
Amazing.
I'll take my own little pilgrimage.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, but I've been wanting to go with the church, though. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, me too. I really want to go. I also
Yeah.
want to take the trip to the Dominican at some point to see that orphanage and everything that they do there.
That would be awesome.
Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. But, so, one more thing. You mentioned also on your Facebook page that, let me see if I can find the exact quote. God has blessed my life with some hilarious epic fails, which make for some of the most entertaining stories you may ever hear. I would love for you to share just one of them.
Oh, an epic.
I mean, obviously, not bringing visas.
Not
It's a
bringing
pretty
visas.
epic fail.
That was my best story. That was the epic fail.
Well, then there you go. Mission
was
accomplished.
fun. I'm sure. Oh man, think of one on the spot.
Ah, I know. It's so much pressure. It's so much pressure. But no, like your visa story is pretty damn good though.
Yeah, that was.
I can't imagine.
That was pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm sure I'll think of them like after I leave here and be like,
Sure.
oh,
and the fact that you couldn't think of one, epic fail.
right now is one. There are so many.
Well, I think your life is an epic success.
Oh, thank you.
An epic inspiration.
Aww, thank you.
And, you know, I adored you from the minute I met you, and it just increases every time I talk to you. I think you're fantastic.
Aw,
I
thanks.
think the work you're doing is incredible.
Aw.
And I think the world is blessed by you.
Aw, that's
I really
so
do.
kind.
I really think that's true.
Aw,
I think you're going to
thank you.
impact a lot of lives. You already have, and it's a beautiful thing.
Aw, thank you.
So go, Sarah.
Aw.
High five.
Go, Jenny. You're wonderful too.
Ah, thanks for doing the podcast,
You're
girl.
welcome.
Yay, you're the best.
Hi.
Yay. No, you were awesome. Do you want to sign my guest book?
Sure, I'll sign the guest book.
You have successfully curved the cube.
There you go. It's your birthday, and here is your song. This year it's a dance, so dance along. It's the Jewish Cuban, oi, oi, oi. I hope it brings you lots of joy. So jump around and get your birthday toy and do the Jewish Cuban, oi, oi, oi. Sway your hips, spin around, then stomp your feet on the ground. Happy birthday, the dreidel stops us off. Hava Nagila, Mazel Tov! Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Ole, ole, happy birthday. Ole.